You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
The Dining at Disney podcast. The Dining at Disney podcast. Your ultimate source about the wonderful world of dining at the Disneyland and Walt Disney World resorts.
If you are what you eat, then I only want to eat the good stuff.
Kristen Hoetzel Go and Jay Brattain are your guides on this culinary adventure.
We'll prepare and serve with flair a culinary cabaret.
Join them as they discuss the latest food news, expert tips, recommendations, and trip planning advice related to Disney food and dining. From quick service to fine dining, you will discover all the best restaurants and food as they hungrily explore the Disney parks.
It brings folks together from all walks of life.
The Dining at Disney podcast. And now, your host, Kristen Hoetzel Go and Jay Brattain.
Welcome to another episode of the Dining at Disney podcast, your ultimate source for delicious discussion about Disneyland and Disney World. I'm your host, Kristen. With me is Jay, and today we're going to be discussing a variety of news coming from Disneyland. You know, the 60th anniversary is going on, so there's always something new being added to that. And then on top of it, Disney announced a lot over the past 2 weeks of Epcot Food and Wine Festival event. So we'll be talking about that as well. Before we get into that, we want to thank you for downloading our show on iTunes, streaming it on Stitcher, and watching the webcast on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe to our feeds, and don't forget to share it with your friends. One way that you can help us and support the show is by shopping our affiliate links. We've got Disney Store, Garden Grocers, Jelly Belly. Of course, you have Jay's Tours you can purchase as well. You can pick up the Epcot Dining Guide as well as the soon-to-be-released Epcot Food and Wine Festival Guide. Now, on to our appetizers. Jay, what do you have in Disneyland news for us today?
Oh, we had quite a few things happening recently, which is good news. I actually haven't been here for about a month, so you guys at Disney World have your whole big shindig over there at the Epcot Center, so that's cool. But we got a couple things going on here at Disneyland as well. The first thing I found really cool was they started something called the Beach Side Bonfire Buffet. That's quite the mouthful to say, right? And
it almost sounds like a tongue twister, like Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
There you go. You said that way better than I could ever. I was thinking like beach blanket bingo or something like that. It's like.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think of that one. The one that I can do fast, the only one I can do fast is Fuzzy Wuzzy Was a Bear.
Okay. So this buffet is happening at the Paradise Pier Hotel, and it's of course the PCH Grill is the location. Have you ever been to the PCH Grill? I forgot.
I have not. The only
Okay.
place I've been to in the Disneyland Hotel has been Trader Sam's as well as Goofy's Kitchen.
Well, this is across the street at the Paradise Pier Hotel.
Paradise
so
Pier. I haven't even been into that hotel.
Right. It's I guess the best way to describe it is more budget friendly than the other two hotels. The way the order, sort of the pecking order, the financial pecking order, if you will, is that the Grand Californian is the top luxury resort, and then Disneyland Hotel is the medium resort, even though it's a lot. But and then the most cost conscious of the hotels is Paradise Pier, and they do have their own restaurant, like I said, PCH Grill. And it's a buffet normally. They do have character breakfasts and stuff like that. And I forgot what the name. It was like Surf's Up Buffet or something like that. I forgot the way what they had called it previously. But for dinner now, they have this Beach Side Bonfire Buffet. There you go. And this thing looks amazing. If you've seen the pictures, if you check out the website diningatdisney.com. And you look at all the pictures of that they have offering here at the buffet, it's quite amazing. They got make your own salad bar, mac and cheese little station. They got a mini taco station. They got a little saute thing where you can do seafood with pasta and stuff. They also have a carving station. So, I mean, there's lots and lots of options, and it's not only for kids, this is oriented towards adults as well. And, it's, I found it quite good, the amount of food that they have available as far as the variety, and it looks like the quality is good as well. And the price point is great as well. It's only $27.99. So I was like, well, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and then, they have a whole bunch of different desserts and things like that. So, it's for the price, $27.99 really isn't a lot if you think about it. You go to some of the sit down restaurants and you can easily spend that amount. So, for all you can eat, that's even better.
I have been amazed by some of the prices that Disney has for its buffets, considering they are all you can eat, and it's not like it's cheap food that they offer. So
Right,
some of them have
exactly.
like that $27.99 for all you can eat. That's a great deal, considering you can easily spend that much and more on an entree.
Right. One of the cool things I thought that they had was that you can build your own s'mores, and that's totally like summertime stuff, right? And it's just like, wow, and it looks like they have different flavored marshmallows, so that looks really awesome.
That sounds yummy. I love s'mores.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad that Starbucks, now has the s'mores. Do you guys have the s'mores ones out there?
I don't do Starbucks, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, they've got a s'mores flavor. Of course, they do regional flavors too. One year I had been down to Disney World, and they had in the fall, they had a maple frappuccino.
Okay.
Nashville never got that, so
That's
always
cool.
interesting.
Yeah, I guess different regions feature different flavor profiles. One of the other reasons why I haven't been on the podcast, the last podcast was the fact that I'd been traveling the country. I went to Seattle and Portland and Las Vegas, so it was quite a different dynamic when it came to the groceries, and it was similar establishments, similar restaurants, or similar grocery stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and things like that. But they had their own unique niche items, and that were local, type produce or local type type of crops and things like that. So anyways, so it's pretty cool. Sorry to go on that little tangent there, but regardless, $27.99, and I think it's a great deal. I'm hoping to maybe get over there if I can. Summertime's running short, and I'm not sure how long this is going to last, but I'm hoping that it's going to be something that they make a permanent fixture, because it ties in with the theme. I mean, it is summer, yes, and it's an appropriate time, but I think that just the fact that it's a beach side bonfire, whatever, it kind of ties in with the whole PCH theme, Pacific Coast Highway, if for those of you who don't know what PCH stands for. So I think it would be a good kind of mainstay to have.
That you guys have, nice weather pretty much all year round. So it's not like it would seem, completely
Totally
out of season, out of place. Yeah.
Right. Cool. And then another thing that's happening, and I'm kind of excited about it, but then at the same time, I'm not a wine drinker, so I'm not sure how excited I am about it. But over at the Napa Rose, they have this new wine station, and it almost looks like one of those like miniature soft drink things where you can just kind of put your cup up to it and then dispense your own Coke or Pepsi or whatever the soft drink of choice is. And this one looks like it taps into these rare wine bottles and then dispenses like one glass at a time. So instead of opening up the whole thing and then having to drink the entire amount, looks like you can just kind of get one glass at a time. So that's a well, not even one glass. You can do like 1 ounce, 3 ounces, or 5 ounces. So that's nice as well. So in case you're just like, well, you're not sure about it, and just instead of getting a full-on cup and then you're like, oh, this is terrible, then you have to put it back or waste it. Then at least now you get the opportunity to kind of have a little sip and then check it out. And if you like the whole, like it, then get the full glass. Yeah.
I wonder what those are going to run.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The thing is that if the bottle it says, they got a rare wine that sells like for $400 or something like that. What a bottle of wine is, what, four servings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you divide that by 400, it'd be $100 for a glass. And if they're using this machine, are they going to charge you a little more because they're using the machine? I don't know.
Yeah, because that sounds like it could easily be like a $30, $40, $50 ounce.
Right. So, well,
what is the pour amount for a serving in California?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I just know it varies. It varies by state. Some have 5 ounces, some have 6 ounces. That's why I was asking.
Well, I just know 12 ounces. That's my bottle of beer. So, and then of course, you get the pint. The good old pint. But the British pint and the American pint are two different things, right? It's British pint's what, 20 ounces or something, or is it? Am I wrong about that? Regardless,
they should be the same.
That's what I figured, but somebody said it was different. Yeah. Anyways, regardless, maybe one of our listeners can correct me on that.
Yeah, because when I ordered a pint in London, it came in the same type glass that we serve a pint in.
Okay. Well, so probably
I'm gonna have to research that.
Yeah. And then the other thing that's happening is the Tahitian Terrace Diamond Luau. And this is a special event. This one is kind of near and dear to my heart because, when I was growing up, I went to Disneyland, and my dad had a real, fascination with Hawaii. So when we went to Disneyland and we saw the Tahitian Terrace, I was like, this is an amazing place, and right next to the tiki room, and it was just, astounding. And I was flabbergasted that they ever took it away. But I'm thinking that it was probably a lot on the kitchen, because it's the same kitchen basically as the Jolly Holiday Bakery Cafe is now. Before, it used to be the, oh my gosh, Stouffer's was the sponsor, and I'm trying to think not Red Wagon Inn. It was called something. I'll have to look into that. Regardless, the kitchen of the Tahitian Terrace and the same place where Jolly Holiday is now shared the same kitchen, even though they were different types of food. So I'm not sure if it just became too much, too much on the kitchen or whatever, to have such a wide, array of food. But, then again, I mean, when you think about it, like Club 33, the Cafe Orleans, and French Market all share the same kitchen as well. So, but maybe it's a bigger facility, so it's hard to say. Anyhow, they are going to have this event on August 10th and 11th. And unfortunately, it's not going to be in the same location as the original Tahitian Terrace, which is right now Aladdin's meet and greet or something like that. Or it's Aladdin's something. I don't know, wherever. Anyways, they are going to have it at Trader Sam's.
Do you know what? I know Aladdin's Oasis. And you know what? Yeah. I didn't even realize behind where they do the meet and greet that there used to be a show back there.
Right.
I went back there once, and I don't remember who I was with, but they were like, you have to see this. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Would never have known that anything was back there.
Well, do you remember the big lion's head in the back corner?
Yeah.
Well, that used to be a waterfall. and the
Okay.
dancers would come out of that location, and that's actually like kind of a backstage area, and performers would enter. When they had Aladdin's Oasis, they did dinner shows and things like that previously, and they had performers come out and they reenacted Aladdin, and it was I never went to that, but from what I heard, everybody enjoyed it. But even though it was kind of short-lived, and I guess it wasn't as popular as the Tahitian Terrace because they only had it on certain weekends. Actually, at first they had it like every day of the week. Then they were like, okay, we're going to have it just on the weekends. And then they were like, well, we're just going to do it select weekends. So apparently it is, the popularity kind of dwindled pretty quickly. And that's
Is it ever used for Aladdin anymore other than the character meet and greet?
No, well, the only thing that they do over there is the Phantasmic meals. Phantasmic, that you get a Phantasmic fast pass with the meal plan or whatever. From what I heard, the meal is pretty good. It's similar to like World of Color. It's just you go up to the window, provide the ticket or whatever, and then you get a little lunch box of different items and things like that. I think that there was like a lasagna and something else, some other option. So it wasn't like an elaborate ground meal, but it was the least expensive alternative, compared to Riverbell Terrace and the Blue Bayou. So it was a good option for some people. But back to the Tahitian Terrace, they are having it at Trader Sam's. Now the thing is, it's going to be $150 per person. It's only 2 days, August 10th and August 11th, and there are 2 times for each of the days. So there's one at 5 o'clock and one at 7 o'clock. 7 or 7:30. Let me check on that. 7 o'clock. So I guess it's an hour and a half event, and they're going to have dancers. They're going to have like all these Imagineers doing like a history of the Tahitian Terrace. They're going to have the food that was featured on the menu back in the day. They're going to have and then you do get 2 drinks, 2 adult beverages with that if you want, or 2 soft drinks, whatever. And then you also get a special edition Tahitian Terrace cup. And have you seen this cup?
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks amazing. The other day I've been sort of vacillating on whether or not I want to go to this, because $150 is a lot of money. But I was like, I don't know. And then I looked at this cup and I was like, well, it might be worth it, especially if I can get a couple of them and sell one off on eBay. Kind of helps with the expense and stuff like that. And then I saw a ticket was available, and I was like, should I get it? And I talked to my wife, and I was like, should I get it? And she's like, yeah, just do it, because it's your birthday pretty soon, so treat yourself. And I was like, all right, and I'll do it. And then so I checked back this morning, and unfortunately they were all sold out, of course.
Oh no!
Yeah, so yeah, it was kind of a bummer, but whatever.
That sounds like something I would do.
Yeah,
I have a habit of like waiting and debating, should I spend the money on this? Do I not spend the money on it? And then when I go, I'm going to spend the money on it, that it's like not available. I'm like, my husband all the time is like, you need to just do it. Like if you see something and you really want it, just buy it. Don't keep thinking about it, because it's always not there when you want it.
Yeah, so. That's true. I just, like there earlier, or not earlier this year, it was in October of last year, they had the Mahalloween at Trader Sam's. And that one, I think, was around $85, if I remember correctly. And so that's, reasonable price. And so I went to it. and without a hesitation, and they had little appetizers, and it was a fun time. They mainly they were there to release a special edition mug of like a zombie mug or something like that for Halloween at Trader Sam's, and they also were talking about Trader Sam's Grotto, and so showing some of the concept art and things like that. But $85 is one thing, but $150, that's a pretty steep price. And yes, the difference is that this time it's a full buffet versus appetizers, but I don't know. And then I guess there's more entertainers this time as well. Last time they had some guy who, I forgot what the guy's name was, something. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Anyways, it's some like white guy, and he did like Polynesian music, like on a little ukulele, and he was kind of a comedy act and stuff. So. Anyways, it was a good time, and and all that, and definitely worthwhile. And then this one, I just I had that debate, that internal debate, like whether or not it was worth it, and then one, whatever. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to check back and see if I can get a ticket eventually. Maybe I'll just kind of figure out that maybe somebody will cancel or something, or at least that's what I'm hoping. So. Anyway, so that's happening, and I'm really glad that's happening. And if I can't go, then I'm looking forward to maybe seeing some photo reports and things like that, and maybe talking to some people that actually go to the event, so we can get some firsthand encounters and stuff like that.
It'd be great to do an interview about that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Some you can't attend, and find somebody to tell you all about it. That's
sure.
always cool. It definitely makes you want to attend those events more when you hear it firsthand from somebody about what a great time they had and that they felt that was money worth spent.
Yeah, just don't read Mice Chat. Anytime you read about these events on Mice Chat, it's kind of a lot of people have negative things to say on there, so avoid Mice Chat. And people who read Mice Chat know. It's not a bad place. It's just a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say, or at least not as when I went to the Halloween or whatever, I had a great time. Other people are like, oh yeah, but it was hot, and like they took forever to get drinks, and they didn't have enough entertainment, and it's just like, well, dude, the whole point was they didn't even have to have entertainment. The whole point was to release this mug, and that's exactly what it was, a merchandise event. So, why are you complaining? Everything that you got provided, as part of that package was just a bonus, and so, and then it was probably the same people that sold their, swag on eBay, because the special edition mug, it was only available at that event. But anyways, regardless, I kind of went off on another tangent.
But those are the kind of people that can never be pleased, and that's not any fun. That ruins all the fun. Right,
exactly. All right, and then two more little news items. The first one has to do with more food available at Disneyland for the 60th anniversary Diamond Celebration. And this time, if you've heard, or if any of our listeners have heard about the July 17th, and is the 60th anniversary, the actual day, and they gave away free cupcakes to everybody. And my buddy Chris Allison from the Diz Geek podcast was there, and he said he had 3 cupcakes, believe it or not. And you could grab as many cupcakes as you wanted. They had them at various locations around the resort, so I thought that was pretty cool.
You can't go wrong with free.
Sure.
It's not very often you get something at Disney for free.
Exactly.
That's like $12 in cupcakes he ate.
Exactly.
At least.
So he I guess said that they were good. So that's good. And then one of the things he noted, though, that he said all the cupcakes were cold. So I'm thinking that they probably, and then here's another number for you, 100,000. That's how many cupcakes that they made for this event. And I thought that was pretty amazing.
You have to wonder how many people they had making those cupcakes, and for how many hours did it take to make that many? Because that's a lot of cupcakes.
It is. And the way I see it is that they probably had it done through machinery, because there's just no way you can produce that many cupcakes in, relatively short amount of time. And even if you freeze it, it's still take, it's very labor intensive to do that. And according to Chris, that each of the cupcakes were pretty much perfect. Like all the toppings and all that stuff. So, when you have something that's handmade, there's going to be something a little crooked or, a little lopsided, or, the whipped cream or the buttercream or whatever is going to be, not quite right, but he said each of them looked identical to each other. So that my assumption is that they had it done by machinery, which is fine. I mean, a lot of the food that, they make at Disneyland is done by machines. So that's fine. So some of the things that they have for some new things, so as of July 17th, they have, of course, the candy apple. This one's a blinged out apple, though. If you've seen a picture of it, it's like all blue, sparkly with like, all these, just, it looks like the castle, like with all the blue diamonds and things like that on top, which is cool. And then I guess it's caramel and covered in white chocolate. And then it does have the little anniversary, like a milk chocolate anniversary logo, which looks pretty cool. And then we have they have the marshmallows. Now, last month for July, well, actually our current month now, but now from henceforth, they're going to start making instead of the s'mores covered apples and s'mores covered crispy treats and marshmallows, they're going to do pretzel and chocolate. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's pretzel and peanut butter and chocolate. So you got like that sweet and salty mix and the crunchy, and yeah, it looks pretty good.
That I want.
Yeah, the s'mores kind of, one of the things I cringed about was like, man, it's like sugar on sugar on sugar, But this, you got that pretzel, so you get the salt, which kind of counterbalances the sweet, or actually it accentuates the sweetness. And then you got the pretzel itself, which it has that nice just crunch. I love that crunch. So, and then peanut butter sounds interesting. I was I'm not sure who created this concoction, but they did a good job, I think.
Peanut butter, chocolate, and pretzel. That's all I need to hear.
There you go.
I'm sold. They better have some when I come in a few weeks.
And then the last thing, they will have this available. They also have the gourmet bark, which is chocolate. It's similar to the bark, from last time. This one's pieces of pretzel with peanut butter and additional pretzel bites. So it's again, you got that sweet and salty mix, which I really enjoy, and it's going to start August 1st. And my assumption is that since they had the s'mores for July, they're going to run this through the entire month of August. That's my assumption. It doesn't say it exactly exactly in the Disney Parks blog, but you probably would assume that would be the case, and then September move on to something else. Last thing, this one is about new magic sippers. And the magic sippers are going to be available. Actually, it started. It was made available July 17th, and there's two different styles, which I think both of them look really cool. The first one, I'll show a little picture for our YouTube viewers here, is the one that looks like a World of Color fountain, and it glows blue. And it looks like the water splashing up. It's made out of plastic, but it looks really awesome. I really like that. I'm wondering, because it didn't really say in the article if, of course it will. It's made with magic. It's going to change colors. It's that's the whole thing, right? They're going to do the the whole interactivity with just like the wand, and they have the Mickey Mouse glove and this and then the Minnie Mouse ears. And then they also are going to have one that looks like Chernobog. And,
that would be cool.
Yeah, that one I am really tempted to get. Actually, I'll probably get both. I mean, who am I kidding? So the one Chernobog.
Oh, now yeah, I think I need that one.
It's so appropriate for Halloween. I mean, I mean, even if I'm not at Disneyland, I'll probably carry that thing around during the Halloween season because it looks so menacing and so evil, but it looks cool at the same time.
They did a good job on that. I like it.
They did. And the thing, I really applaud Disneyland for producing these sippers. I have the wand. Okay, I have the Made with Magic wand. I like that. But one of the things when they first released this Made with Magic type technology is that they were the ears, right? And I always found that kind of, I don't know, it was a distraction to me. I'm watching World of Color, I'm watching Fantasmic, and then in front of me somebody's wearing the ears, and the ears are like glowing and changing colors, which is fine, and it's supposed to go with the show itself. But in reality, I kind of found it just like a visual distraction to, I'm trying to look at the show, and, when you're adding an extra, 4 to 6 inches to somebody's head with the ears, it just becomes another, something else to block your view, which sucks.
Yeah, especially when you're only like 5 foot tall.
Yeah. And then
I always hate those things. That and when people put their kids on their shoulders.
Right.
I always have like the 6'4" father with his 6-year-old son on his shoulders. So now he's like 8 foot tall, and I can't see anything. I'm like, yep, might as well not even bother with it.
Oh yeah, I told you off air previously about kind of a sort of a bad experience I had last time at Disneyland, and it's unfortunate because it was the first time I was watching the the new parade, and I was just we'd been there for 2 hours at Coke Corner, and then as soon as the 5 minutes before the parade starts, all of a sudden this 12-foot wall of people just erects before my eyes. I'm like, oh no. I mean, it was really it really bothered me a lot. I'll just put it that way. So but I won't rant on that too long. Regardless, I think that the sippers are a better idea than the ears personally, and I'm glad that they released these. And if you want to see pictures of both of these new sippers, check out diningatdisney.com website.
Yeah, I think that's going to be on my list of things to pick up when I'm there.
That's true. You're going to be here very soon. About 2 weeks or so?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll
I'm
be
ready.
hanging out.
I'm so excited about seeing all the 60th anniversary stuff and hearing what D23 Expo has, what kind of news. They've got, they have to have something big coming out, because last time, that's the one thing everybody's kind of a little disappointed about, is it seemed that there was no big park news. It was a lot of movie news.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping we get to see some of concept art from the Avatar section for Disney World, and I want to hear that Star Wars is being announced for one of the parks, and I want to hear that they're going to turn Tomorrowland into like Stark Tower or something. The Avenger Tower.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Definitely.
At least your Tomorrowland.
So that's it.
Because they can't turn our Tomorrowland in that. We can't have Marvel in the park.
Yeah, would you guys have some kind of deal with because Universal or something? They have it's kind of like they can't have it within like so many miles or something like that of Universal Orlando. Is that right?
Yeah. Universal has a Marvel section to their park that is not well done by any means.
Is it the one that's in the what's it, Island of Adventure or Adventure Island or something like that?
Yeah.
I saw that, and it's basically like a bunch of cutouts, right? It looks like comic book characters that have been cut out of wood and then just kind of painted, and it's just like, really? So I mean, it's not really
It is not well done at all.
right.
The best thing about the section is the Spider-Man attraction's good, but they have some really cool merchandise that they sell in their shops, which is good for Disney because every single one of those pieces of Marvel merchandise that is purchased at Universal, the money goes to Disney.
There you go.
So I'm surprised they've kept it instead of making a deal with Disney to give that up for whatever amount of money. So, is that all your Disneyland news?
That's all I have. It's a lot, but yeah, and then hopefully we'll get some more announcements because Halloween is coming up pretty soon. They announced some dates. Usually they have Halloween themed food during that time of year, so I'm looking forward to that. And also, not too much. The Halloween party itself. Well, actually, they do sometimes have special food at the event. So we'll see. I mean, and plus this is the Diamond Celebration, so maybe they'll step up their game with the food in that regard as well. And but like trick or treating at Disneyland, it's what can you say? There's candy. It's just like gobs and gobs of candy, and then not much beyond that. So
that's when you go at the end of the night and you grab your candy then, because then they're just trying to get rid of what's left in the barrels that they have. So
have you been to Disneyland during?
I haven't been to Disneyland.
Okay.
I've been to Disney World.
Okay, well, Disneyland, they just do not care. They will give you 2 handfuls of candy, and in fact, I mean, you basically can bring one of those big, hefty, garbage bags that you see in the, that you put on the outside garbage cans, not your kitchen bags. I'm talking about the outside garbage cans. I think it's like 32-gallon sucker, and you can fill that up, no problem, going to all the candy stations at Disneyland.
Wow.
Sometimes you'll get a cast member that's tight, and it's just like, oh, here you go. Here's 1 piece, 2 pieces. Okay, bye, trick or treat. And it's like, okay. Other ones are like, here you go, whoosh, whoosh, and it depends too, because like they in the past they had some Ghirardelli chocolates, so they were a little more stingy with those. But all the other ones, all the kind of lower budget, candies that they have available in the grocery store or whatever, they'll give you, just tons of it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our appetizers and on to the main dish, which is going to be Food and Wine Festival. There's just so much stuff that has come out over the past 2 weeks. 'Cause what was it? 2 weeks ago, I did the preview that was for media as well as the Tables and Wonderland members. And since then, it's been like news story after news story after news story of things coming out. It's crazy. So some of the most recent announcement was, are you a Chase Disney Visa card member, Jay?
Kind of. I have my bank account at Chase, but I don't have a Visa card per se, a traditional Visa card, but I do have an ATM card with the Visa logo. So
okay.
they look at it and they're like, yeah, you can do it, so that's fine.
That's nice. The cool thing is they're doing something special for the card holders this year. They have 3 different events that are exclusive to Disney Visa card holders. One is right up your alley, Jay. It's brews, breakfast, and more.
Oh my.
It's going to be a 3-course breakfast that uses beer as an ingredient and is paired with it.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
They only do it on one day. It's September 28th. But all these events that they have for card holders, there is one date that the event happens, and that's it.
Oh, that's kind of, well, I guess that's fine. I mean,
I can only imagine how fast these are going to go.
Yeah, I just, I don't understand why they do that. I mean, it just, I don't know, maybe just to compel people to go on certain days or whatever. Because I mean, if you offered it more frequently, and then you'd have more money. I mean, that's just logical to me, but
I
whatever.
think it's probably targeted mostly at those who are local
Oh, okay.
rather than, those who live either out of country or out of state that have a card or a way to get them to come. Like, oh, I really have to do this particular thing. Let's go to Disney for like a weekend or beginning of the week. So the other two that they have, one is they have an event called Party for the Senses, and it's huge. It's one of the most popular events that they have. And they have an event called the Making of the Party for the Senses. So you get to see how the culinary team comes up with all of the food that's offered and the beverage pairings and all of that kind of stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. I think it's kind of neat to see how Disney, their food and beverage department, works kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I had enjoyed, when I was looking, backing up a little bit here, I was looking back when Disney California Adventure had their Food and Wine Festival. It was 2011. I was like, really? I was like, dang, has it been that long? It's been 5 years. I was like, oh my gosh, or 4 years. Actually, it was 2010, excuse me, because it's been 5 years. And I was like, wow, that sucks. But I remember one of the things that stood out to me was I love those culinary demonstrations. And one of them, I forgot the name of the chef, but they showed you how to prepare beets. And like, my wife doesn't like beets. But the way this guy prepared it, with all the various ingredients and stuff like that, she's like, oh, this is good. I was like, yeah, cool. So.
Yeah, it's nice. A chef knows what he's doing when he can make an ingredient that you do not like taste fantastic.
Exactly.
So the other event is called Creation of Food and Wine Marketplaces. And so you enjoy a breakfast with the sparkling wine toast. You get to meet the festival chef as well as beverage professionals and an Imagineer, and you get a sneak peek at how they go about creating each of the marketplaces along with their menus. And I was like, that one, I think I'd want to do more than any of the others.
I would agree with you. Totally. That's right up my alley. Right up my alley.
Yeah, as soon as the festival ends, they already start deciding and coming up with menus and everything for the following year. Like,
wow.
That's a long time that they're working on that event. But then again, it also lasts for, 2.5 months. No, a month and a half. So it's 53 days, I think is what it's at. Something like that. They also mentioned other events that are going to be taking place, and these are going to be ones that cost nothing. As you mentioned, Ghirardelli earlier, they have a nice display that they do, and it's in the Festival Welcome Center. They've got the little candy for you to, that you can pick up and taste. Somebody handing out the candy, but they take and make these giant chocolate displays, like the stuff that you see on, the challenges that they do on like the Food Network. These massive things, and they're all made of chocolate by the Disney chefs. So that's really cool. That's there. They have some free little tips and tricks that you can learn from experts. It's called Back to Basics, and that takes place on the weekends. And then this year, they're bringing back the Dominican Republic. And it hasn't been at the festival in 8 years. So as part of that, they're going to do a spotlight on the Dominican Republic, and you'll learn more about their culture, crafts, and their culinary delights. Also in that same area, they're going to host book signings with meet and greets and bottle signings. And the book signing ones are cool, and sometimes the lines get really, really long because it's somebody like Robert Irvine, who is, quite famous.
So who are some of the headliners this year?
Cat Core is going to be there. Robert Irvine will be there for an event. Carla Hall will do one from ABC's The Chew. They're actually, for ABC's The Chew is going to host live tapings because they're going to be there October 8th, 9th, and 10th and host tapings each day. They're going to be at the first 2 days they're at 8 and then a second one at 11, and then the last day it's an 8 o'clock taping, but they're doing 5 shows for the following week to be aired. Like, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
That I'd like to attend.
Well, there you go. And then you get on TV. You can bring your dining at Disney little sign and then you wave it up in the air and you pan over the audience, just like, yeah.
We need to get a shirt made. So.
Yeah. Well, both. I mean, because you got to hold the sign up, right? Because don't they do that like wrestling events and things like that? MMA WWE or whatever. Like everybody has their little homemade signs, and there you go. That's dining at Disney. Yeah.
I've been to one WWE event, and I was like, did not realize that they tape a whole bunch of other stuff at the same time. So it was a lot longer than I had expected it to be. Like, I don't have the patience to sit there for that much stuff.
Yeah.
And they brought back the Ocean Spray Cranberry Bog, which is really cool. I one year got to get in. Last year they didn't do it, but the year before, Ocean Spray had invited me, and I was able to put on the little waders and talk to 2 cranberry growers. And you could get in the bog with the cranberries, just like you see them on TV where they're standing in the bog, That was fun. I'd want to do that again.
And so you get your like a little photo opportunity and stuff like that?
It was part of a media event.
Oh, interesting.
So they invited like a handful of people who run podcasts and blogs and write books to attend it. And Ocean Spray got a hold of my name and invited me to go, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, my name is Jae and last name B. No, just kidding.
So Ocean Spray or Disney, if you're listening, Jay wants to be invited.
Sure. Well, if I can't go there, then maybe one of the other future events for Disneyland as well.
I do like it when you get to attend some of these fun events like that. You guys do a lot more of those things than Disney World does.
Yeah, I know. I'm on Daniel. Like, actually, both Tommy and I are on Daniel to get some media event things for these Disneyland type of activities. But I don't know, something. I guess they don't like him or something. I don't know. Maybe because he lives too close to Magic Mountain or something.
Maybe he just needs to be more persistent.
Perhaps, yeah. I'll have to look into it. Because
you imagine.
Some of our, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can you imagine how many emails they get from people requesting stuff?
Right. Well, and some people look out. I mean, even though they may have, small listenership or whatever, they still get in, and it's just like, I guess it's like there's a guy. Well, I won't say his name, but anyway, some guy that he had a relatively new podcast, but he was able to get access to these media passes and things like that, and I was like, how'd you do that, dude? I mean, you'd only had a podcast for like a month or 6 weeks or something. And I was like, oh, okay. That's strange. But
he must have known someone.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, he must have known someone. Usually that's what happens is you know the right person, and that's how you can move that fast through the Disney system.
Well, it's the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, unfortunately. Eat to the Beat concert series. They have 4 new guests this year, and it's going to be 80s pop icon Tiffany, who I've recently met. She's super cool, really nice. Everclear, Maxi Priest, and Chaka Khan. They are all new this year.
Sorry, I'm going to ask this question because I've never been to the Food and Wine Festival there. What is Eat to the Beat? I mean, basically, what's this like? Give me a summary of it.
Okay, they do a concert series the length of the Food and Wine Festival. It's called Eat to the Beat, and it has musicians and artists from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today.
Okay.
So it's free. It's included in the price of your Epcot admission. Did you say you said you had been over to Epcot, right?
Yes, I have. Uh-huh.
Okay. Where the American Pavilion is across from it, there's that huge theater.
Right.
That's where they're held.
Okay. Yeah, that's they do the candlelight processional there.
Yes.
Right.
And they have 3 showings. There's a 5:30, 6:45, and 8 p.m. showing.
Okay. So
And it's a variety of artists. Like, just to name a few of them that are coming this year, you've got David Cook, who was one of the American Idol winners. You have the Pointer Sisters, who were huge, back in the 70s.
80s.
Sugar Ray,
Yeah.
who was, had plenty of hits in the 90s. Tiffany from the 80s. You have Boys to Men, Hanson, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Air Supply. So they're bands that are really big name bands.
Right. I just
Some
didn't.
are still famous now. Some,
Not so much.
are more in retirement and just doing the tour circuit and
Right.
and enjoying themselves.
So I guess because the title sort of, that's the reason I had asked the question, because Eat to the Beat, I didn't know if like it was like a dinner concert, like where you ate while performers were, you know what I mean? Like they had, like tables set up so you can, dine and watch bands perform live. Is that right?
It's just a normal like amphitheater, but you can what a lot of people do is grab food and sit down and either enjoy a drink or some food or whatever while they watch the show.
Okay, so they allow you to bring food and drink into the amphitheater. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, awesome.
I always bring drink rather than food. I need one hand free for the camera.
Yeah.
So it's like drink, take pictures. Let's see what else. Oh, list of the booths that'll be coming this year. It's the typical ones that they have pretty much every year. There's Africa, Australia, Belgium. There's Block and Hans, which normally has beer, but during the food and wine, they're going to do a wine. Brazil, Brewers Collection, which is right up your alley, Jay.
Oh yeah.
Canada.
I like the Chingu. Have you tried the Chingu beer?
I have not.
I think it's XINGU. It's a dark beer,
Yeah.
similar in color to Guinness, but it has a lighter flavor. It's not like your typical dark beer. It really has a nice. It's a robust flavor, but it's not heavy. You know what I mean? It's not
like a
heavy
black lager.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it. Yes. But anyways,
I
yeah,
haven't-
that's something. Yeah, I like that. I like that beer a lot.
I'll have to try that next time. Canada, China, another one for you, craft beers, which is last year they actually held it. That one was inside a old restaurant that's no longer in use.
Mhm.
So it's really nice. You could go in there, sit down, have some beers, and get some nice air conditioning rather than melting out in the hot sun.
Perfect.
Desserts and champagne. There's fresh, Farm Fresh, which features Florida local ingredients. France, Germany, Greece, Hawaii. Hops and barley. Again, more beer. Ireland, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Morocco, New Zealand, Patagonia, which is, I believe it's Argentina and Chile, kind of the foods from the two countries put together. Poland, Scotland, and South Korea. And they have some new ones. There's a cheese studio, which is just going to focus on cheese and wines that go well with them. Chew Lab and Sustainable Chew. Both those are tied into the TV show The Chew. And for the first time, they're having those two booths are going to be located in Future World, which they've never done before. The Food and Wine Festival has always been contained to the World Showcase, except for the Festival Center. They use an old empty pavilion building for that. So I'm interested to see where those two booths are going to be placed. And it's one of those things where I think you're either going to have to hit it as you enter the park or do it as you're exiting the park, since it's not with everything else. So I'm curious to see how the traffic flow is going to go with those two.
Now, at all these booths, it's essentially they have their own specialty item, and then you just go up and get whatever you want. It's not where you have to like buy a ticket and then you exchange a ticket for a meal. You just pay cash, or because I'm assuming that it's not part of the dining plan, right?
There's snacks portions, so most of the food you can use your snack credits on.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's really good information to know.
And it's worth it to save them just for that if you're planning on going, because there's dishes sometimes that are $7, $8, and you can use your snack credit on that when it pretty much $4 is about as much as you're going to get, maybe $4 and some change with the use of your snack credits. That's the high end of it. So to be able to use them during food and wine, that's a substantial amount of savings you'll get by using them there rather than on, a marshmallow on a stick or something like that.
Yeah, that to me that's huge. And so basically, if I go up there and I say, well, I want a pint of Hefeweizen, then I can use my snack credit, right?
Not on alcohol.
Well, it's liquid bread. It's liquid bread, okay? That's what it is. Just hasn't been, baked. That's all.
Right? Yeah, it can't be alcohol. It can't be alcohol. And they have on the menus the little, it'll say, it's a little square, and it says DDDP, Disney Dining Plan. No, DDP, Disney Dining Plan.
Okay.
So it's marked on all of the menus to make it easy for you. They also mark on there vegetarian items. Last year they marked ones that were gluten-free as well, so it made it a lot easier for people who had dietary restrictions. The one thing I am disappointed that they didn't bring back this year was Terra, because it was a vegan marketplace, and it made it much more enjoyable for those who are vegan, because there really isn't anything else unless you're getting grapes or some fruit. I mean, so many of the things contain meat or a dairy product like pasta. So they didn't bring that back. And then the last new booth is going to be Wine Studio. So it's going to have cheeses and wines as well.
Cool. Well, it's so much information. It's a good thing that you wrote it all up on the website, right?
And then they do have, I'm going to mention two last things and then we'll wrap this up, because otherwise we'll be here forever.
Well, that's okay. But and then if they want more information, you also wrote a book, so that's helpful as well, right?
Yes, I'm working on that right now. And yeah, tons of information. This event is so big because, like, special dining events, they do those as well. So you have things like Party for the Senses, where you get to enjoy music, reserve seating for Eat to the Beat. Cirque du Soleil will perform while you walk around and taste food and drinks, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the events. They do things like there's an Italian wine and beer pairing this year. Before it was either Italian wine pairing or Italian and beer pairing. This year, you get the dish and you get beer and wine with each of them.
Wow.
So it's various things like that, and the prices vary anywhere from $39 all the way up to $319. So you can go towards the less expensive, or you can, if money's not an option, then $319 for the little private area in Party for the Senses, then that's there for you as well.
Yeah,
but that's the one thing I did put in the book this time that wasn't in the past, was how to enjoy the Food and Wine Festival on a budget and get the most out of it.
There you go. It's good idea.
They also have culinary demonstrations, beverage seminars, and mixology seminars. And the Thursday, these can be booked. So July 30th at 7 a.m. Eastern. They can be booked. You can call 407-WDW-FEST or book online at epcotfoodfestival.com. So both of those are options for booking. If you are Tables in Wonderland, Disney World Annual Pass holders, Disney Vacation Club members, or a Golden Oaks resident, if you book one of these demonstrations Monday through Thursday, you can get a $2 discount on the demonstrations and seminars for those dates, which is nice. It gives, people who are locals a reason to go out during the week to enjoy some of those events.
What's the population of like the Orlando area? Just wondering.
Do you know what? That I do not know.
Huh. Just wondering. I mean, like how, I'm just thinking, Walt Disney World is, it's the most attended theme park in the entire world, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like, how much are they catering towards the local population? Like with Disneyland, they have to take into consideration the annual pass holders and the people that live in the local area, because there's so many. We have Southern California, LA alone is one of the largest cities in the entire world. So that's the thing that they can do like special things, special events or whatever, and then offer discounts for select people. But I'm just wondering, like Disney World, like is that really like a major factor in when they consider doing this thing?
It's not.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not, because the majority of the business that Walt Disney World gets is from those visiting from either out of state, out of the country. It's visited by mostly those people. Now,
Mm-hmm.
there aren't people who over the years have moved down there because they want to be near Disney.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who have moved down there and don't even go to Disney parks. So I think you've got a wide range of people, but they don't market things towards those people per se. Like you guys have tons of cool events for annual pass holders and stuff like that Walt Disney World doesn't do, because they just don't have, to them, their money is not coming from locals, it's coming from visitors.
Right. That's why I was just wondering, about offering, I guess by offering this little discount, it's like throwing the local population a bone. It's like, here you go, like you want to come,
Yeah.
cool, here you go. Here's a little discount, a little something. So,
Yeah,
anyway.
there's like, to me, it benefits me. I'm Tables in Wonderland, and I have an annual pass.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't afford to live in Golden Oaks if I wanted to, since it's like $1.5 million is on the cheap side there.
Mm.
So it is a nice area, though. But yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell a lot of the information about the Food and Wine Festival. As you mentioned, Jay, there's like all that stuff on the website. And I am hoping that my program comes in soon so I can get the book out, since it crashed. And every time I try and do something, immediately it goes, it has stopped working. I'm like, no, don't shut down. It did that to me the other day after I did over 3 hours of work. It had not saved it. And I was like, no, you can't do that to me. Yeah, and since then, when I was getting it to work, I was clicking save, like, okay, I changed the font here, save. Change the font here, save. Type this word, save. Like, I have to do it. I have to get it to save my work. So, was there anything else? Dessert. I almost forgot. We got to end with dessert. I don't know. Jay, what is your Disneyland food tip for your dessert?
Well, since earlier you're talking about some of the people with food allergies and how they are, pay special attention to that at the Food and Wine Festival. If you happen to be gluten allergic to gluten. What they call celiac or something like that. Anyways, yeah, if you have allergies to gluten or just want to, dine gluten-free, if you're on a gluten-free diet for whatever reason, there's a website you can check out. And this website is not Disney, like if you go on the Disneyland Resort website, they're not, it's kind of hard to find the information. And I found another one that's done by a company. It's not a company, it's just a website. It's called Gluten Free and SD, and the SD stands for San Diego. And yes, it's a San Diego, dining website, and dedicated to the gluten, people with gluten allergies and things like that. But they have a special page dedicated specifically to Disneyland, and it has some nice tips and information. So if you're planning to dine at Disneyland and you need to take that into consideration, you definitely should check that out. And then also, don't be afraid to ask the chefs at the particular restaurants if you have, for a special meal, because I know for a fact that there was a guy that I read a blog about where he and his child had, allergies to gluten, and they told the cashier at Taste Pilots, or not Taste Pilots Grill, at Smoke Jumpers Grill. And so I guess the cook came back, one of the cooks came out, and he's like, oh, well, tell me about it, and, this is what we can do for you, and that kind of thing. So they tailored, the dish specifically to their needs. So, if you go to Carthay Circle Restaurant or, Flo's VA Cafe or whatever, just let them know, you have special dietary needs, and they'll make accommodations. They're very, very accommodating when it comes to that.
Another thing to do is to go to guest relations when you enter the park. Both DCA and Disneyland have a list of the gluten-free products that are there. Like it'll tell you which restaurant has what, and they are regularly updating it. So I actually know somebody who lives out there, and her daughter is gluten-free, and so that's how I found that out. She was like, oh yeah, all you have to do is walk in there and they'll give you a sheet, just ask for it.
There you go.
Like, that's cool. That makes it a lot easier.
Absolutely.
And then my tip is to pick up one of the marketplace passports when doing Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. This way you can keep track of what you've tried, and in addition to that, you can get a little stamp. Each of the country has their own little one. You just hand them your passport. They'll stamp it. I've had some that write, cheers in whatever their language is. And it's a fun way to keep track of what you've had and what you like and what, if they have next time, you don't want to have again. So I think that's all I have for today. So I guess it is time to wrap it up. Jay, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me at magicalfoodtour.com. On Twitter, it's at magicalfoodtour, and same with Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, the whole 9 yards. I'm all Magical Food Tour.
Which makes it nice and easy.
Exactly.
And you can find me at diningatdisney.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Periscope with looking up Dining at Disney. On YouTube, it's The Dining at Disney. And we are brought to you by the Weeby Geeks Network. Please download and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd love you for it. Thanks for listening, and bon appetit.